Yeah, we're all good.
So I can start?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Ladies. You can't just laugh. Because it was a Jayme impression? Was I impersonating my brother too closely?
You just did it too perfectly.
Oh snap! Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing out there this week? This is Intergalactic Interviews, and this is episode 154. My name is Guy David McDonald. I'm filling in for your usual host, MD Jayme McDonald. Today I'm being joined by Russian Tim of the punk rock radio show Rocket from Russia on CiTR. How's it going today, Tim?
Good, man. Thanks. Congratulations on your big debut, huh?
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Brother Jamie's sick. I'm covering for him, and we're going to make it go slick. I spilled my drink.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
No, thanks for having me. I actually
Absolutely, Tim.
I asked myself, myself asked you, being Jayme MD,
Yes.
to be here because I have a couple of exciting things to talk about, and thanks for having me.
Hey, I hear there's a big show coming up Friday, December 15th. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. Yeah, so I've been doing the Christmas shows, kind of end of the year shows for the past few years. I don't even know. I tried to count before I came in here how many years I've been doing this. And it's been, 4 or 5 years. The first one was at the Biltmore, and it's been going better and better. And for me, it's just like a good way to... I don't do too many shows. I do usually a few shows per year. Plus, I do the Rocket from Russia Festival, which is a big one for me in the summer. But usually the last show of the year, I try to invite like all my friends who is available to play, and just to really celebrate the local scene, to celebrate the great year. Every year, I feel like I've been involved in punk rock scene. That little punk rock scene we are all part of is getting bigger and bigger in terms of just like more people get involved, more people get excited, we add more bands. So that final show of the year, which I always call Christmas Rager.
It's always been called Christmas Rager?
Well, it's
I thought this was the first year.
No, I think it's two years in a row.
Oh, okay.
Rich from the band called The Greatest Sons.
Right.
He calls anything good Rager.
Rager.
Like, I sent him a
though.
message about the show, and he's like, this is going to be a Rager.
Yes.
So I stole it from him, Christmas Rager, so here it is.
I like it.
So yeah, on December 15th at the Kobold, that's a new venue. I'm doing a show there for the first time. There will be 5 local bands playing, The Greatest Sons, Contra Code, The Core, Anthems, and my band called Russian Tim and Pavel Bures.
That's beautiful. that is beautiful. I see here that tickets are $10 online ahead of time or $15 at the door.
We should talk about Russian Tim. Like, what do you...
Yeah,
just
we're
in
gonna talk
case
about Russian
you've
Tim
been
and
on a bunch of times. Just wondering, like, what... So people know what you're about.
Yeah, so I do way too many things in my life. But to summarize, I host a punk rock radio show called Rocket from Russia on CiTR. Yeah, you mentioned it.
Thursdays at 10 a.m.
10 a.m., 1 hour of punk rock music. I usually play new, international, and local music. I really like this. This is the type of punk rock I listen to. I listen to new releases. I listen to international. I really like finding bands from weird places. And by weird, I mean places I've never heard of. Right. And
like Canada and stuff?
No, I've been to Canada before a couple times for the past 11 years. And yeah, obviously I'm big on the local scene. I like promoting local shows, local bands, local events. So that's one of the things I do. I also started a band about a year ago, which is called Russian Tim and Pavel Bures. There's a straight link to the Russian Rocket, the legendary Pavel Bure.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. So for not the local people who don't, because not like non-Vancouver people.
He had that mullet.
Yeah,
that's what I remember. the feathers coming out of the back of the helmet was Pavel Bure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this is Pavel Bures.
So yeah, me, Russian Tim, and there's 4 of great Russian Pavel Bures.
How common is that name?
Pavel,
like what is that? Is it Patrick in Russia? Like what?
Probably would be Patrick. Yeah.
Is that the close? I don't know.
Yeah. But it's I wouldn't say it's definitely a Russian name. I wouldn't say it's the most popular, but it's a common name.
It's common, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough.
His last name Bures isn't, because I think it's originally a French last name, and his grandfather was the legendary maker of watches, hand watches,
Oh,
and
really?
clocks.
I
Yeah,
actually didn't know that.
yeah. So, but it was like 18 something from what
Sure, yeah.
I think. I'm not making this up, but yeah. So he immigrated to Russia, and then so those two brothers, Valery and Pavel, started playing, and Vancouver got lucky, and they got Pavel to play for them.
Fast
Vancouver
skater.
Canucks.
Fast skater.
Very fast.
Goal scorer.
Yeah, until he.
Well,
Yeah. I was gonna say about the knees, but you probably said about the coach. Yeah.
I don't know enough about hockey to talk shit that strongly.
So for the listeners, the radio show, I do the Rocket from Russia. I organize shows, obviously.
Yeah, that's the thing I think that's the important thing is that you, or not the important, but one of the most important things that you do organize a bunch of shows and you kind of cultivate like the artists, a bunch of artists in town, right?
Yeah. I try to I'm in love with punk rock, and I moved here. I never lived. To me, like the scene we have is unbelievable. I think we have such a strong scene, and it's really.
It's growing. I've been here for 7 years, and it wasn't what it is today when I started here. I think 7 years ago, what were you doing? You were doing the same thing. I met you about 6.5 years ago through my brother.
Yeah.
He already knew you in the scene. Was that you guys went to Pavi together or something?
Exactly.
Right.
We went to the music
you went
school.
to some school together.
Yeah, and this is how I met him,
Right.
and we stayed in touch. So I was doing the radio show, he was doing the recording, so we stayed in touch. I knew he was doing, and then I was one of the first Intergalactic guests when it was at an old location. Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Was that the basement or
Rupert
the vault?
Sixth
The studio? It was at the
Oh,
studio.
it's the
With
basement.
a big door.
Yeah, the
Amp.
vault.
Yeah.
at Amp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, so that was back then, and back then I was already doing the radio show. I already started doing the concerts, like organizing concerts, and I do it for pure love. Like I it's not for fame or money, or I just like doing this. This is how I lived my life since I was a kid. But still, when I lived in Russia, I was doing the shows. I was in bands. I was going to shows. I was watching bands. And when I got here, I discovered the scene. Like I said, I never lived in New York or Los Angeles. Maybe there is a bigger scene. I have no idea. But compared to places where I live in Siberia, we never had such a...
Vancouver's got a pretty rich history of punk and hardcore that is real easy to find. I mean, you go back to the DOAs and the
Pointed Sticks.
Pointed Sticks, or even from the island, No Means No, and all these amazing bands. Very rich history. It's we still see these guys around as well.
Exactly.
A lot of those players are playing in like SNFU and the Real Mackenzies and all that right now, or not. Well, yeah.
No, still play, yes.
Yeah.
And if you play in Pointed Sticks are playing next week,
Yes.
and if you're still around, so the Real Mackenzies, obviously. So yeah, and all those people who's been there.
Friend to the show.
Friends of
Friends to the show.
yeah.
Yeah, Real Mackenzies.
Yeah.
Yes,
Your last
yes.
episode was something else. And a half. if the viewers and listeners haven't seen this or heard it, check it
Probably
out.
just yeah.
And I'm not saying because you gave me all the great praise. I'm saying by how drunk you were.
It was. I learned that day that I can't be a punk rocker. I can't. I tried for like an evening, and I was like, nope.
This is
They got me beat. They
No
got
success.
me beat.
No success. So I don't know if you guys have covered this in past podcasts or not. I was wondering how long you've been in Canada. You were talking about growing up in Russia and listening to music there. Was it, I suppose I'm wondering when you came to Canada and when it must have been before you came to Canada that you came across like North American punk rock.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So I moved here in 2006. That would be 11 years in the end of November. But obviously, the first time I heard punk rock, I had no idea what it was. My uncle went to States for school, and he brought a boombox with a few CDs. It was 1994, and he recorded me a tape. One side was Smash, Offspring. The other one was Green Day, Dookie.
Killed it. Hey, Green Day Dookie came across my plate on a dubbed tape as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and
That's pretty sweet.
who was it? Hartley Nason in Kenora had Green Day Dookie, and it was like what is this?
Exactly. And before that, I listened to metal. I was really into Metallica, Cannibal Corpse, Tankard, Creator, those like metal bands, thrash metal. And then I heard that, and I didn't know what it was because I thought like there was rock music or metal music. I didn't know that punk existed, but I really liked the melody, how catchy it was, how fast and like condensed the songs were. So I really fell in love, and then I started discovering Russian scenes. But then in 2000, I discovered NoFX. That's my favorite band of all time.
That just opens it up, eh?
Yeah. But it's like it was weird. Like all my friends who I have here, like discovered NoFX when Ripped came out in '91, or like in the late '80s, or like at least Punk and Drublic. But we didn't have access. Like I couldn't go to the store and buy a NoFX CD. No, impossible.
No internet.
No, I didn't have internet.
Yeah, I mean, there was still some serious cultural problems.
Yeah, just there was no access, like no real access. Maybe you could have, like if you really, really searched, but I didn't know they existed, so how can I look for them? So I got, in 2000 when Pump Up the Volume came out, this is how I started listening to them, and that was like, oh wow, this is the band which I want to, listen to a lot and find like-minded bands. Then I found out they had the record label, Fat Records, so I started checking out all those other bands, this is how I get into the punk.
The catalog, the Fat Record catalog is just, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing. The deeper you go, the more impressive it is.
Exactly. So many different bands throughout the genres. There's a few generations of bands. Some of them are still there. Some of them went on to bigger. Some of them broke up and went on to smaller things. But, but yeah, that's, how many, 25 years in releasing great records, great music. So so I became the fan. This is how I like to answer your question. This is how I became the fan. And when I moved here, as naive as it sounds, I wanted to live in a place where NoFX, I can see NoFX every year. It sounds naive because like you move from one place to another, you change your life, you change everything about it. But like to me, that was honestly one of the key reasons when there was a conversation. Do you want to go to live in Canada, in Vancouver? And I was like, fuck, for real. Like, you can see, like, NoFX definitely plays more often in Vancouver, in Canada, than in Novosibirsk, where they never played. So I was like, yeah.
The data checks out, I think.
So I've been here in 11 years, and I've seen NoFX 14 times. So I think I'm going slightly ahead of schedule.
Yeah, you're way ahead.
Had you thought about going to, like, California? Living in the States instead of Canada?
Well,
before moving here, I mean.
What
made you say Canada instead of the States? I suppose
it's actually I don't know, maybe interesting story to you. Originally, when Soviet Union broke up in the late '80s, early '90s, it was a few years of transition from one country to another. Pretty much, it was anarchy. There was no constitution. It was nobody knew what will happen in the future. It was a shady time and sketchy time in Russia, and my family decided to immigrate, and that was States. So since I was a little kid, I was 5-6 years old, I knew that eventually I will be living not in Russia, just because like the way my family, like we went to different interviews, there was some paperwork I needed. I didn't understand that, but as a kid I needed to take some pictures, some medicals, for future move to a different place.
Wow.
And then in '92, I believe it was, my parents divorced, broke up, so that plan didn't work out because like you need to immigrate as a family. So after a few years, then my mom decided to come back to this idea. But back then, she did a little bit more research. She had a little bit more information available to her, and she figured out that Canada would be an easier place to immigrate in terms of paperwork and going, and also in terms of just adaptation in the country. Because we had friends who immigrated in Germany who lived there for 20, 30 years, and they said, listen, we still feel like an immigrant. After 3 years of being here, I felt like I'm one of many. I belong here. Even I speak broken English. Even I'm not from here, but I'm welcome here. That's how I felt.
Dude, I'll tell you, we all love you.
Thanks. I like being here too as well.
Cheers,
So in '99, my mom started the process of immigration, and I moved here 2006 after I finished university, and my mom moved 2004, and my mom's mom moved 2009.
Nice. So you've got quite a bit of family here.
Yeah, my mom and granny. That's
beautiful.
My closest
That's
people.
nice. That's a good. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah.
right? Like,
Hey, familiar faces that love you.
Exactly. I was there yesterday. It was my granny's 81st birthday.
oh,
So-
81st.
hey,
Wow,
happy birthday to Granny,
congratulations.
right?
Yeah.
That's
That's
beautiful.
wonderful.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so that's how I got here. That's how I discovered punk rock. That's how I got into everything what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome. I met you through punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I was in Shockload, and I think Shockload might have played, maybe not. I think I've been involved in maybe 2 or 3 of your shows. I think one was
the Rocket from Russia Fest.
this just past July.
Yes, and then you played with Ellesmere, same Rocket from Russia Fest, and you played another show with Ellesmere with me. So 3 shows.
It's been 3 shows with Ellesmere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I met you originally at, I remember that, in Pub 340 when we used to...
Classic. That's a storied venue.
When Jayme and me used to go, and our friends from school, we used to go to see Jesse's band Cambridge,
Right.
Raised by Apes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we've been going, like that was a fairly regular thing. We would go to Pub 340, had a few beers at the camp, and then go to see local bands play. Classic
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And then one night, out of sudden, like James said, "Oh, my brother is coming," and then you appeared in your physique, in your and you hugged me right away. Like he introduced me, you hugged me.
Tim!
You were sweaty. Oh, yeah, and it was just like, yeah, and I was like, okay, I like Jayme. This is his brother, like him as well. So
Beautiful. Cheers, brother.
Nice. That's awesome.
So yeah, like I said, like I met you lots. I met lots of people through punk rock, like pretty much, and I think it's great.
Let's talk about some of these bands that are playing your show.
Oh, yeah, with a great pleasure.
Anthems. I played with Anthems. Yeah, beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful,
there it is,
beautiful.
There it is.
Yeah, actually, yeah. This vodka is kicking in, so I'm.
The vodka's
warming
sinking
up.
in. He's starting to sweat.
Warming up.
Who's sweating now?
No, he's just acclimatizing himself to the classic
yeah.
Russian temperature.
The Rushke Standard.
yeah.
It's getting hot here. So yes, Anthems, in my opinion, if the listeners don't know, it's a band which includes 2 brothers. One brother plays drums, and the other brother plays bass. So there's 2 of
Good
them.
combo.
So good.
Drum and bass brother combo.
Exactly.
And
Key
the
ingredient.
bass-
That's like the Sedines of your band.
Exactly.
His
You know
bass
what I
is
mean?
overdriven and vocals on point.
Yeah.
Ellesmere played with them at your Rocket
show,
from
yeah,
Russia
yeah,
Fest show,
yeah,
absolutely, and I was blown away by them.
So, like, to
They are
me,
good.
it's like the brotherhood, those idea of writing music together. Ryan, who is the bassist and one of the singers, they both sing.
Yeah.
He uses one bass, he uses 2 amps, and when you listen to them, even live or on the recording, you don't sound just like bass. It sounds so full. It sounds like a
Interesting.
full
That's
instrument.
cool.
So sometimes I see the bands which they have those combo, just 2 instruments, like a guitar, drums, or bass and drums. Sometimes it sounds like too weak.
Thin, very thin.
But he's he's a mega nerd in terms of the gear.
Gear tech, yeah.
He makes it sound so
really
full.
does.
Is that the amps,
He
do you
really
think,
does.
or is it just the tuning that
He's
they're
got- he's
doing?
got a real
Is it
nice
kind of
guitar.
a combo, or is
It's
it?
the combo because he has 2 amps, plus he has, I believe, 5 or 6 pedals, which are somehow connected. I don't know how it
okay,
works.
he's got the gear.
So yeah, there's it's definitely he does.
That's
great.
great.
and the proper guitar,
Oh,
right?
of course.
you don't
Sorry,
just-
I don't mean
you
to.
just plug a piece
it's not
of
be,
crap
that's
in
not to
and
be
make it sound
dismissive.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, Anthems has been the most. If you take a look at this local punk rock scene, the Anthems who made the biggest progress this year. Like
Oh, right.
I
Right on.
discovered them
They
probably
really have.
last year, and they played the show. It was Lana Luz. There was nobody really knew them, and now they play shows. They just recently opened for 2 touring bands, Iron Chic and Off Their Heads, at the Cobalt. It was
Right on.
sold out show. So
Because they made a splash like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they've been playing shows and they write good songs so far. They have 2 EPs, 2 4-song EPs. The 3rd one right now is
That's
in
a
the
beautiful
making.
thing.
So I think if
I envy that. That's easy to tour with. 2 brothers, limited gear, you know, man.
I like the
I would
size
love-
of
I would
the.
love to
Just
do it.
I didn't know that, and I gotta say, like, I really appreciate. Just as I don't create music, but I consume it, and I would say I really appreciate when someone is like, "Hey, we got a 4-song EP," and I know that like that means is just like putting out whatever you got. But I think at the same time, that's the best way to do music in wherever we're at.
It's all about staying current. If you can
Well,
put out
it's just whatever your best
four,
shit
four
is.
songs every 6 months or whatever, you absolutely stay current.
Absolutely
If
you
you wait
do.
2 years to put out your 10 or
Your
12
album,
song album,
yeah.
People forget.
people forget about
And
you
there
a
are
year
good,
and a half in.
but what sucks is that there are good songs on your album, whatever you're up to.
For
there
sure.
are songs there that are relevant. Are they all relevant? Maybe not, but a couple of them are. And if you can get in front of that, I think that that's a big boon to the band, to just the industry, because it's like, let's hear some cool shit from everybody. And like,
totally.
even if every couple months you have, or sorry, every even 4 months you have one song that's necessary,
Absolutely.
or not, I know, whatever, but like good, then it's like, that's better than 4 years of one album.
Product that
in
you're
my
happy
mind,
with, basically.
in my mind.
Product that you're happy with.
Yeah. But again, I mean,
But
obviously it's
that's
subjective.
the way the industry has
Yep.
kind of veered.
I'm just saying I like that.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, you put out one album with 12 songs on it, and you're good for the year or year and a half or 2 years until the next one comes out. It's not like that anymore,
Well, especially in
tougher
local
for
scene.
sure.
especially in the local.
If-
Yeah,
if you-
exactly. You're totally right. The local scene is,
You have to, because there's nothing else really happening. You're not touring the world. You're playing. So going back, to Anthems. So two 4-song EPs, good songs, very different songs. So for the listeners,
I like that.
check them out. So yeah,
we should probably try to put just for MD's note here, put some links to the bands in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
AMD,
sorry. Cut you
links
off.
to the bands in the show notes, but
Yeah. Sometimes he doesn't do it, so we're gonna make him edit this out, and he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, not.
let's talk about these other bands.
Yeah. So
Or do you have more to say about Anthems?
No, I think we covered it. We gave them
Anthems is
enough.
great.
I'm
Anthems
wearing
is
the
great.
shirt as well, so
Yeah.
they got enough
I picked them
promotion.
out of I'm gonna bring up the core next.
Yeah, good choice.
Are you kidding me? The core is
Crazy.
full of just beautiful souls that are really doing some wonderful music.
Yeah, so I'll tell a little bit about the band again for the
Yeah.
listeners who, if they don't know. The core is the band is 4 guys, 4 friends. Dan Garrison, who also plays in the band called Real Mackenzies, which the listeners might be familiar from the previous drinking episodes of this podcast. So Dan plays in Real Mackenzies, but his real passion is comics. He's really big fan of. He's really into comics, and the band called the Core. They really into the Green Lantern. How you say that?
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, yeah.
This comics. So four guys. They also have 2 EPs, 5-song EPs.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely the same idea. So this is what's
To no one's surprise.
Yeah,
In
seems-
terms of just like,
yeah, this is what it seems to keep happening in our scene. So they usually it's funny how the logistics of the band works, because right now Dan was the first guy who started playing the Real Mackenzies, and then he also invited Dan, who is the drummer,
Stanning, yeah.
who plays now also in Real Mackenzies, and Andrew Peterson, who is the guitarist, is also plays in Real Mackenzies.
3 pieces of the core are in the Real Mackenzies.
So 75% of the core play in the Real
That's
Mackenzies.
pretty amazing.
that's so funny.
So the way they work, the way the band operates, is they play as the core when the guys are not on tour with the Real Mackenzies. So it's usually
That's handy.
Yeah, Real Mackenzies usually do a lot of around St. Patrick's Day. They do March tour, then they leave off to.
I'll be driving for that.
Oh yeah.
I drove.
Yeah,
I drove this year for their St. Patrick's Day tour, and I expect to be back to do next year's. Guys,
Just so if anyone knows, if anyone doesn't know, I just want to say this: Gtone is a road veteran. He knows how to drive you well, get you there on time, and if you try to fuck around, he'll be like, "Do we need to fuck around?"
no
on this?"
horseplay.
I'm just saying. I think
I
Gtone.
say, open the windows before you fart. That's what you say.
And actually, I heard Gtone, just to go back to the compliments of you, of not being also a great podcast host, but also being a great driver.
Yeah, Gtone is no joke in any one of the best.
I just heard from different people who you drove that you get shit done, and this is what's
That's
important on
exactly
the road.
my
That
point.
is
I was
what's
trying to make.
important on the road.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And people, because you know how people get drunk and they can fuck around on the gas station and go and you're like, listen, this is the time to leave. Everyone gets in the bus, and this is, I know from different people that people appreciate that, even they've been having fun and being drunk on the gas station.
That's the thing. If a band hires me to drive them, they give me an itinerary.
Yeah.
And I work out the numbers. I'm like, it takes us this long to get from here to here.
Yeah.
And we have this much time. If there's dilly-dallying and shit, you're putting me behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
If I get you to the show late and it's because of you guys,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to talk.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk. You know.
I just like there's a certain level of pragmatism.
I mean, you're
And
the ones paying me. I'm not gonna
No.
rip a strip off you. You know, but
No,
I like to be on time.
No, and I think that's so important. Like, again, no one wants to talk about like, hey, we're on the road. Let's be pragmatic. You're like, no, let's have fun. It's like we're touring, and you're like,
That's what it's
okay,
about.
But we have to get.
That's literally the reason why someone would hire me to do it.
Absolutely.
It takes it out of their hands. Everyone in the band can do their own
and as long
thing.
as you listen to Gtone, it'll be okay. And I believe that, except for some parts.
That's just when we're flying down that. You know, I'm not.
Full disclosure, I have tried to tackle Gtone and choke him out at a party, and he turned around and said,
That's funny.
Wow,
it's
you were
funny you bring
choking
that
me
up
out.
because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, hey, remember that time C-Mart grabbed me around the neck and I just like swung him up like sidewalk slam into
like a pile of
naked
laundry.
arm choke.
I was like
arm choke, and I was like, this is where you give up.
I felt like a loose towel.
Just a little squeeze. Give him a little squeeze.
But at that point, that's debauchery. On the road, I think it's appreciated the pragmatic authenticity, the realism, and that's how you get bands to place to place to play the shows at the right time.
I appreciate
think that's really valid
you bringing all
and
that
really valuable to a lot of bands.
I appreciate all that.
Good.
That's what I pride myself on, not dropping shows. You know, I can literally say I've only dropped one show since I started driving bands around, and it was one of my own shows, and it wasn't even a major show. We were going to, it was like we were making up a night on a Tuesday or a Wednesday in Selkirk. And they wanted us to just host the open mic as we were rolling through, so it wasn't like we dropped the show. We just, and it was because we were broke down in my hometown of Kenora.
Yes,
Fair enough.
So had the vehicle been ready, we would have hosted that open mic in Selkirk, but they allowed us to drop it for reasons beyond
great.
our
control.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So we got more lists.
Let me finish on the core.
Oh yeah.
So 2 EPs so far, 2 5-songs EPs when they play, when they don't play the real Mackenzies, but when they play really like so many good shows, so there's a good opportunity to see them. So for the people who, again, haven't heard them, it's songs about comics, very good songwriting, very catchy, and
Clever, too.
Clever,
Very
yeah,
clever.
Yeah, and if they have this classic fat sound of 90s, if you like no use for a name, no effects, this is the band. And really, like, they're good musicians.
Not to mention that Dan did most of the writing on the new Real Mackenzies album, right?
Exactly.
Dan Garrison is a
songwriter.
beast when it comes to songwriting.
Exactly.
Straight up.
Exactly. And they're all for good songwriters and musicians, so it's a strong band.
Very strong. Very strong. When they perform, it makes the hair stand up on your arm, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Who's next?
Who's next? I would say Contra Code.
Contra Code, again,
Good shirts.
good shirts.
Good shirt.
I have one. I am not wearing it tonight, but they got great shirts.
Which one do you have? Do you have
I have
one
like
with
the
Monster?
little monster one with
yeah.
like the pink monster on it. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
a great shirt.
Would I
like
be
their
wrong to
merch.
say that Contra Code is a video game themed punk rock band?
I don't think they're video.
They're
I
not
think,
video game
I think
themed?
they're just they took the name.
I think it's the culture, like they take culture more seriously, or more like they kind of incorporate that more. And I could be wrong because I don't.
For me, it's hard to say because I don't understand what bands sing about usually. So maybe they're all songs about Tetris and FIFA 92.
Tetris and FIFA. Yeah.
Yeah, but who
Fair
knows?
enough.
I'll ask them after we finish this. So I don't have information if they sing songs about Tetris, but
I hadn't seen this until I moved out to Vancouver, where there are like what do you call it?
Themed?
Themed bands.
themed bands.
Yeah. Like I think there's a band called Loose Tooth, which is literally about
dentist.
dentistry.
Yeah, actually,
Right?
that's something that's actually a good idea. The core.
Isotopes.
Isotopes.
Right. Baseball themed songs.
yeah,
The
absolutely.
Core.
The Core,
Comic themed songs. Absolutely.
Russian Tim and Pavel Bures. Russian songs. Well, we'll talk about it
Russian
later.
songs. Yeah, we'll talk about that. You're coming up last.
Good. I hope we have enough time.
Sure we do.
We definitely got enough time.
But yeah, Contra Code is the band which is they play this type of punk rock which is very technical. They more into like solos and like a little bit more technical approach. So now like we talked about 3 bands. Every single band in my opinion is different, and on that bill, which the show I'm doing, is gonna be 5 different sounding bands, which all play punk rock but different genres of punk rock.
Right.
So Contra Code is they're more into their technical type of punk rock. Like I said, more solos, more like harder structures. But they have 2 releases. The first one is same thing. They have a 5-song, which was like a first EP/demo. Then they released an album which actually got attention of a record label from Florida, which is fairly big in punk rock, called Bird Attack Records.
Bird Attack.
And that record was released the next year after it came out locally. So it was released properly in States, and I think in States and Canada. And now they got picked up by a European label, and the European label is doing the vinyl release of that album.
Nice.
So that album got 3 releases. They will be doing, actually I'm involved, and this is exclusive information for the Intergalactic interviews. Their album release show that the vinyl release show will happen March 3rd at Pub 340. And this will be like their proper vinyl release show. So that's
Awesome.
That's cool.
That's the local band, which put the mark in States and Europe.
Contra Code's killer.
And
I saw them once again. I played with them at your Rocket from Russia show, and I wanted to bring up the
compilation,
the compilation that you put out for that show. I want to say that the Contra Code song on that comp
They are good.
was the most rippin', best produced song on the comp.
It is. And this is a song
up.
from that album. And I totally agree with you.
Contra Code.
Contra
Definitely
Code.
on point. I love this lineup. Let's talk about Greatest Sons for a bit.
Oh, Greatest Sons, this is also one of my, all the bands are one of my favorites.
I know.
It's almost like you picked
Except
all
for
your
Ellesmere
great bands to go on your...
Except for Ellesmere. Except for Ellesmere.
Not that he's
Well,
biased.
you have to figure out your lineup, and then you can play.
Figure out your life, and then you can
That's
play.
a little bit of like...
That's going to be the name of the
like
next
that.
Ellesmere album.
Yeah, figure out your life.
Figure out your life.
That's not a bad move for...
It was figure out your lineup, but I think
figure out your lineup. Yeah,
Nah,
same
it's the
thing.
same.
Same
It's the
thing.
same.
But I
Same
think,
thing.
yeah.
Okay, Greatest Sons.
The Greatest Sons. Good way to switch the topic, huh? But yeah, The Greatest Sons is also one of my favorite bands in town. 3 guys, Rich and Nathan, who are bassist and guitarist. They've been in the scene for 10 years. When I moved, Nathan played in a band called Slingshot. You might remember them. And then Rich played in a band called Fatty Matty and the Yellow Belts. I think.
Fatty Matty and the Yellow Belts, yes.
So those bands, when I moved in 2006-07, I saw those bands when I just got there. So they were already playing shows. Rich opened for Rancid at Croatian Cultural Center more than 10 years
good
ago.
venue.
Yeah. So those guys been in the scene, and Nathan is really, really talented songwriter, and he writes songs which are very, how would you say? He uses a lot of, I forgot the word in English. When you say something, but like in a secretive way.
Oh, it's called
Not anathema. analogies.
Abstract.
Not abstract. Whatever. So
Analogies.
Analogies.
You're right. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So he writes and like they're very good songwriters, and they write those like very catchy punk rock songs, and they've been friends for years. So you can feel it when you see them play. So Nathan and Richard, they played in bands together. So there's like a real, brotherhood connection.
They're tight. You can see that they do it well.
Exactly.
That's a wonderful three-piece. I've been a fan of three-pieces forever.
Exactly, yeah. Rich is one of the best bass players in the city.
And guitar players.
Yeah. He plays guitars, drums, and bass.
Yeah.
So again, like funny enough, they also have 2 EPs which are 5 songs long. So I think something
Everyone's aligning on this.
That's what's been happening. I'm telling you, it's because of the way this music industry's been going.
I think it could go lower. I think I would like even again. I'd like
song a month.
Singles. I
A
like
song
singles.
a month. That gives you your 12.
like
your 12
singles.
songs for an album a year.
C-Mart, listen, like
First of all, let me preface this with.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. What I'm saying is that like less songs over time, I think is good when they're all good, and I think 5 songs because I'm sure these EPs probably take 12 months or a year, in terms of production.
Yeah.
That it makes sense that they would be less, but I wonder if you could even get even closer to like 1 song every 2 months. You know what I mean?
I'll give you a little bit of like my vision of that. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. It makes sense. More consistency than.
Well, you have much better insight than I do. So.
But it also comes down to costs. No one in those bands are millionaires, so they have to save up from their jobs.
Yep.
And when you do 4 or 5 songs
To justify the production.
it just ends up being sometimes cheaper.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
And also people usually,
I hadn't considered that. Sorry.
and that also kind of makes sense. Like, when you go into studio, you want to do this, like when a drummer, because like the way the studio works, you come in, you set up the drums. It takes a couple hours just to set up the drums.
And get them all mic'd up and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're doing five songs in a row, or you have to do it 5 times to set it up. So sometimes it takes longer. So there's not only that, there's also like logistical financial questions, which I agree with you. And the way the scene was going, like we have 3 to 5 songs a piece, just every single band, which I talked about. But it also, it comes down to just
No, I think what you
logistics.
just said totally invalidates my thoughts, and I think that is accurate. I think that
Totally.
makes sense. That's
But we're on the same point altogether, that it's consistency instead of waiting for 2 years to release 12 songs.
some output is I guess my
Activity.
ultimate activity. I would say like just if you got some cool ideas, you should try to put out some cool ideas.
Yeah.
And it sounds like all the bands we're talking about with these 5-song EPs are doing that, and that's really positive because that means that they can get their ideas across like more effectively.
Yeah.
That's great.
And more often, and like you play
Absolutely.
shows,
Yeah.
you have something to celebrate. Oh, we have a new EP, we have new
Yeah,
this, new
more
that.
more shows, and that's where like the fun happens, right?
Exactly. So like how does the process of recording an EP works? You went to the studio for 3-4 days, and you mixed it. So it took 5 years or 5 days of your year. You play shows every month. There's probably 12 shows per year. I don't know, 10 shows. But you practice for them every week for 3 hours. So it's just a little bit more involvement. So you have,
Absolutely,
when you have 2 events, 2 releases, so maybe even 1 release, you coming up with this, you're getting ready, but you're still playing shows, and then you released it, and then you working out those songs. So
Yeah.
so Greatest Sons.
Greatest Sons. Beautiful, beautiful people. So that leaves us on the bill, Russian Tim and Pavel Bures.
Good job.
Pavel Bures.
Yeah, this is the band which I have a lot to talk about, obviously for obvious
Yes,
reasons, because
let's do
I'm
this.
involved. So I'm excited about it. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm in the band, but
Can I ask you one thing first?
Yeah.
Is there more than just the one song that's on the comp released?
that's a good question, because there's just one song on the comp which we released, but on December 12th, 3 days before the show, we should have finished 2 songs which we just did with Stu McKillop at the Rain City Recorders.
Beautiful.
So those songs should be out. Originally, we wanted to release it a little bit earlier, but there was some scheduling conflicts. There was a couple of issues which just happened. That's life happens. So we got delayed from late November to December 12th, which is when it will come out. But we're hoping to have 2 new songs, which are very well recorded, thanks to Stu and Rain City, right before the show.
Nice.
Awesome.
So again, going
So
back
what
to your
do?
question, 2 songs we did because it was just easier to do. Again, 2
Yeah.
songs. Yeah,
I know how it goes.
you do definitely.
I know how
do.
it goes. You know, you have you have to you have to schedule your rehearsal time. You have to schedule your writing time. You have to schedule and pay for your recording time.
We also have to align on the songs that you
have
want to
to-
record.
Yeah, and practice those songs.
Sorry,
That's
I mean
what I'm
that.
saying. That's all the rehearsal time and writing time and all that before you even pay to go into a studio
Yeah.
to record these songs
Exactly.
with a premium guy like Stu McKillop,
Yeah,
who does great recordings for many people
class.
at Rain City Recorders, which is a beautiful spot.
Yeah,
Eh?
yeah. So I never wanted to be in a band. I was in a band in Russia, and
What was it called?
Привидение с мотором.
What's the English translation on that?
The English translation is very strange because it's ghost with an engine, which doesn't
Ghost with an engine.
make any sense. But it's a very famous cartoon character in Russia. Everybody knows what it means.
Oh.
So it's just like a Soviet old cartoon characters, and which was kind of wild but kind. That's how it's.
I
that's
like that.
That's how I am. That's how the band was.
Yeah.
We played punk rock, but all the songs were kind, and we were like
Wild but kind.
Exactly.
Yes.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. So
That sounds nice.
so he was, and
I
he
like
was.
Wild and Kind. Wild and Kind is a good band name.
Yeah, I think it's a great band name. Yeah. It's
Listeners,
like-
feel free to use it.
yeah, I mean,
So I moved here. Didn't really want to be in a band because for me it wasn't the goal to be in a band. For me, I wanted to make music with people I like making music, and I tried that a few times, and there was no connection with people. I tried that before, so there was nothing that really kind of. I was like, oh yeah, it wasn't good fit, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm a fairly busy person. I'm doing the radio show. I have work. I do a lot of things in football, soccer. So like I'm busy. So I didn't want to have that. But then 2 of my friends who are now in the band, they're a couple. Julia and Sergey, they're from Belarus. They're a couple. They moved here from Montreal, and they saw me perform a song with Contra Code, which is
Nice.
a song for fun. And Sergey came up to me, who is the drummer in the band, and I said, "Listen, you need to be in a band." I was like,
And it needs to be Russian.
no. He says just you need to be in a band. But I said,
Oh, yeah,
listen, I want to be in a band. Like I'm fine doing songs with other bands. I'm fine doing it for fun. He's like, listen, no, you have to. I was like, well, if it has to be, if you tell me to be in a band, it has to be on my terms. I have my own terms. So this
That's
is what
fair.
It should be on your terms.
and it is.
Yeah. You grab that bull by the horns and just
well,
make it go where you want it to go.
I said, like, listen, if we're doing a band together, I have this vision how I want it, and I'm not doing it in any other way.
Any other way? No.
This is how I want it, and this is I'm either doing it how I
visionary.
want it
Okay.
or no. And they said, listen, okay, whatever. Like they,
they're
So
like, you're fucked.
the gist of the band at this point is you're playing classic pop Russian songs
yeah,
in a North American Russian or North American punk fashion,
exactly. That would be a good, pretty good, accurate.
like Russian words and everything still.
Yeah. So what we do is like, well, like I know a lot about Russian pop music and rock music.
Yep.
So we take those songs and we make punk covers of those songs. But we change it a lot. I change the lyrics, which nobody understands because it's in Russian. So to you guys, it doesn't mean
doesn't mean anything.
But I put in some really, like, in my opinion, sometimes funny, sometimes really.
Subversive.
You
assume.
said that.
I assume.
I don't even know what subversive mean, but I have a good idea.
Yeah.
But I put sometimes like, which to me, this is fun for me. And, but the other thing is that, like when going back, when I got here, I didn't want to make any music with anybody else because the guy who was with me in that band, Ghost with Engine, Привидение с мотором, there was a guy who we ended up in this band by luck. He just joined the band because we needed a guitarist. And we connected so much on a musical level that after being in a band with him for 2 years, I didn't want to be in a band with anybody else.
Wow.
Because we have such a crazy musical connection. It's unbelievable. People have that sometimes. Like we talked about
wonderful.
Anthems.
That's wonderful.
When you have brothers, we have that, and it's phenomenal. Like what we the connection we have, and to me it's so important because after that I've been playing music with other people. I never had that connection. So for me, going back to when I said the band has to be on my terms, I said, listen, this guy has to be involved. So the way the band works is I come up with ideas of taking a Russian pop song, making it a punk song. I describe it to him in an email. I send it to Siberia, where he is. He reads the email. There's no notes. There's no nothing. I just say, listen, this is how I see the song. You need to make here this. This is guitar line. I want to sound like this. I want this to be fast. I want this to be slow. I want to be this chorus, this. He sends me demo back, which he records at his home.
And you're happy with it.
And this is exactly how I see the song. So this is some crazy connection which we have.
Which member of the band is this?
His name is Slava. He lives in Siberia.
Has he ever been to Canada?
No.
He writes the music in
writes the-
Siberia, and he sends it here for
This is how the band works.
Russian Tim
Yeah.
and Pavel Bures.
And we take his demos and we change it a little bit.
Right.
We don't play as it is
Right.
because I bring the jam the demo to our jam space. We look at it, and then we see, okay, so this is how we do it. This is maybe we'll change it a little bit. But the bass, me and him comes up, and here as the band we have absolutely genius person. Her name is Christy. She plays guitar, she plays trumpet, she plays synth.
I like a multi-instrumentalist like that.
That's a nice combo to have on
Yeah.
board.
She's
That's
genius.
great.
She played with Adele. She
No kidding.
was in a band called Band
Okay.
Sinister. Like she's
Ben
That's
Sinister.
That's
yeah.
a very great look. Okay.
It's legit, yeah.
so
Noted
Christy's
local band.
absolute music genius. She's
Nice.
just like she's just like unbelievable. So I bring those demos and we all collectively, and then Christy has her inputs in terms of just ideas, notes, pitches, backup. And so it's still, I feel it's like our band songs because we're all involved. Everyone in the band is involved, and when we take the demo, we'll translate it to our songs. But that's how it works. So I come up with the idea, send it to Siberia. Siberia sends me demo. We do it. I bring
this.
it to the jam
I
space.
fucking love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
wonderful.
it. I love it.
The logistics is crazy.
Great idea. Great idea. That's awesome.
So yeah, when people come out and then they see us play, it will be lots of Russian songs which they don't know much about it. But we have some ideas where we insert certain famous punk rock parts from different songs. We use it so people recognize certain punks. So yeah.
There you go.
I definitely caught your performance at the Rocket from Russia Fest that I played with you guys in July.
Yeah.
I think it was your first performance. Yeah. Went off well, and obviously you just want to carry it on.
That performance was just one-off. I didn't want to do we said okay. They said okay. They pressured me into doing the band.
Yeah.
I said it has to be what I think. They said okay, let's do it. So we started jamming, and the idea was just to do one show and then just to see what happens. And then we all had fun. We all had fun playing, and we said okay, let's keep doing it.
Why quit? Yeah.
So it's been
Keep on.
been the best thing, the most thing which occupied my life this year.
Have you played?
like
May I ask? Have you played in bands in the past? Like
Just
have you
in
been
Russia?
in a show, like in
Live shows?
like a live show playing in a band.
Your band's in Russia. Were you actually playing shows?
yeah. We toured.
Live.
toured.
Okay. Yeah,
Toured,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
So sorry. So well,
No, we played many shows.
shitty
and
question. So I guess let me re-ask the question. How long had it been since you played a show in Russia versus playing with
Last show I played in Russia was November 17th, 2006. And then the show I played here was July 20th, 2017.
Okay, so
11 years.
I will ask. Was there an element of oh yeah, that shit is
There was.
so fun,
gotta
and
get back into
maybe
it.
you
There was.
forgot.
Yeah.
And that was the feeling which I was kind of killing it, not killing it, but kind of downplaying it. I was like, okay, whatever, I was just
Yeah,
playing in
yeah,
the band.
yeah.
But after we started playing together, even in a jam space rehearsing, I was like, shit, I didn't realize how I missed it so much. Just not even playing the shows, but also being in a band, creating music with people which, we're on the same page and just doing this stuff. And I'd never consider myself a musician because I don't have musical talent. I have the charisma
Allegedly.
and the dancing performance and talking to people talent. I do have that, and I know. But music definitely, like I'm not a skilled musician. So, but I didn't realize how much I missed it, and I was good.
That was an amazing weekend. It was July 21st and 22nd of 2017, and it was a Friday and Saturday night, one of the last shows to happen at the Media Club before it turned into the
Something else.
whatever it is now, if it's reopened or not.
Giant pit of a condo.
Is that what's happening?
I assume. I have
it's
no
going to
idea.
be
They wanted to put a kitchen in there of some sort.
yeah, it's going to be
more
okay.
of a restaurant than a
one of the
showroom.
chains. I don't remember what's exactly.
Donnelly, of course.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah.
Inevitably.
One of the Donnelly Group wanted to put just a restaurant and less music in there.
Fair enough.
But it's like adjacent to the Queenie Theater and all that. I mean, it's amazing.
It's a great location.
Amazing location.
The issue
Across the street from the arena. Like
That's the last live music venue besides the big ones, Commodore and Venue
in that area.
and Vogue in downtown.
Yeah.
So there's no really to see a
You're right.
fairly small show in downtown anymore.
Yeah.
No.
It's a room to
It's either
lose.
small shows or big.
Yeah, or Commodore.
Mid-size shows,
Then
yeah.
you go to arenas,
Yeah.
Do you like the Imperial?
Yeah, it's a good venue.
Yeah, I would say that one. It's not close. I'm just saying like that one has popped up recently for me where I felt like that's a good.
I saw Gob at the Imperial just
That
as
was
they were
there.
opening
Oh,
up
really?
a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
When they released
In
their,
August, yeah.
their last
The
album.
new
yeah.
album, yeah.
I'm just saying that's a good venue. Like
Really nice venue.
surprisingly
Good
fun
venue.
Really nice
venue.
venue.
But for me, unfortunately, they don't do too many punk shows.
Right.
Fair
so I
enough.
haven't
Rental
been there.
the rental
Yep.
price to get that place for
Yep.
an evening is not at our level at
No,
all.
and I think that's totally fair. I just mean that
But it's a good venue.
it could be though. Like imagine, when Rocket of Russia keeps going, that seems like
Definitely.
a valid spot to put Rocket at Russia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can invite Real Mackenzies because we have the connections.
Real
And
Mackenzie would pack that place.
They'll pack up the place for
Absolutely.
200-300 people, and then our bands will come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bring the other 100.
yeah. That's fair enough. I do shows for 100 to 150 people. That's
Yeah.
my spot.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's a totally valid thing about that. Like, I can't imagine trying to get anything together for 100 people. And you're just like, yeah, I can do that. You can just
He's got
organize.
this guy's in a sweet spot.
I know.
He's got the radio release. He's got ins with all the great bands in town.
Absolutely.
But
My hat's off to you,
thanks, man. Thank you.
Russian Tim.
I'm just saying it's a great. It seems positive.
It is.
It just
It
seems
is.
positive.
That's what I
right?
wanted to say.
And that's why people are drawn to it. I think that's why. See, as a band coming up in Vancouver, you don't have the ability to go out and meet everyone that's in the area and all these bands that are doing the same things that you're doing.
Yeah.
We need a guy like you who can say, this band played an awesome show this night. This band played another awesome show this night. You know what? We should put all these great bands together and show them.
Do a big night.
Show them in front of a
Yeah.
bigger crowd.
Absolutely.
Funny you would say, going back how me and you met.
Yeah.
I was going to different spots when I moved here. Pat's Pub 340.
Yeah.
What else was there? Media Club. And I figured out it
All
was
the small rooms.
all the small rooms. Yeah. This is like I'm not like I went obviously to see big shows, but at those three places I would go to see bands and I would figure out these three bands play together all the time and the same 20 people come out.
Yes.
And then you go to a different place, the same three bands play there, same 20
You
people come
figured it
out.
out.
And then I said, okay, how about we mix those people up? So I went to a whole bunch of shows, picked up my favorite bands. It's not like I
Cherry picked.
No, it's a good idea, Tim.
You did though. You did. You know.
no,
It's almost like you had a bird's eye view, and you could see the up and comers, the cream of the crop, right? That are really drawing people out that
Exactly.
have passion in their
have
eyes.
good songs,
To come and
people
see.
come out, yeah.
Yes.
And then I came up to introduce myself and said, listen, like, this is what I do. We'd like to play a show together. Like, and they're like, look, yeah, good.
Russian Tim from CiTR
Yeah.
just asked us to play a show. Absolutely.
And this
and
how it
look
all
what happened
started.
to Anthems this year,
Yeah.
right? The golden touch over here.
But again, it's never was like a massive success goal or nothing. I just like the bands. I come out, introduce myself. We become friends.
The best stuff never is meant,
And then I do a show
Comes
and it's
together
like, okay, so I see
organically.
Exactly. It was very organic, and that's why. And also things which I've been very open about is that we do everything super fair. Even the show we're doing right now. And I'll be honest, there's no secrets. And that's how I think, that's why this scene is strong and people drawn to it. We do everything together. Said, listen, we have a group chat. We all need to promote the show. You need all to make those Facebook posts, Instagram posts, because we all want to make a good show.
Group effort.
Same thing with money. There's no headliners. There's nothing. There's a cost. There's a cost to put on a show.
Yes.
After we break even, after cost, everything that is... the profit is divided 6 ways. 5 bands and myself. So we're all equal. There's no headliners. There's no organizer. There's no opening band. We're all equal. We're all, so that's what I was trying to put on the bands. We're all together in this thing. So there's no, like, if we want to make it a good show, and I believe that the bands want to play good shows, that the people come out, that...
You better believe they do.
They definitely do.
We all
if they
do.
don't, like...
That's everyone's dream, is
You
to have
the band,
people
so
show
you know
up
how
to
it
their
works,
shows.
yeah.
Can you imagine not wanting to play a good show? You're just like, hey, let's just play a
I'm
show.
happy
Let's
playing
make
to
a
an empty
really...
room.
And this is not... Sorry, let me just say this. This is not meant to talk shit. I'm just saying, can you imagine a band? And that probably does exist. That is just like, let's just play a shitty show.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. And to your point, that's why the bands want to be involved.
Exactly.
That's why it's going to be
Not a shitty show.
better.
For sure.
Exactly. And I think, like, if we all work together, if not, like, I as a promoter put on the work, or like headliners, or like the opening bands. If we all bring together people, if we all talk about the show, and if we all good bands, then it's gonna be great success, synergy.
But
Totally.
I would say, sorry,
No, go ahead.
sorry, no,
I was gonna say we all see that the work that you put in. We all see that you have this reach, and we would all jump to be on any show that you want to do. I know you only do like two, 3 a year, and that's what it should be.
yeah.
You know, these bands that are playing every month or every 3 weeks, trying to just
Well, that's their own-
fill a
that's
gap
their
in all
own
these
hustle.
shows. I mean, you're gonna wear
That's
yourself
their
out.
hustle,
Yeah.
You're gonna wear out your welcome. You know, if people see you too much, they're not gonna want to see you anymore. So putting on a show twice a year, once in the middle of summer and once at Christmas, is the way to do it.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah, and they're Seamus from Not Your Body, who puts on shows every weekend at the.
Yeah, but that's not the same bands.
It's exactly. He has the diversity here. He switches up bands.
And he will not book the same band if it's within a month or
Some
or
period.
Exactly. Yeah. And he does the like we work together, and I message him. Listen, Seamus, I'm planning the show in 6 months.
That's not your buddy, by the way, boys.
Yeah, Not Your Body. Yeah. He does shows at the Pub 340.
Yeah.
So
lots of shows at Pub
has
340.
has that picked up again? Because I remember going to shows at Pub 340.
Pub
and
340 just a couple months ago started booking bands
Okay.
Yeah.
often.
Awesome.
And it's Seamus.
Awesome.
You know,
Not
I'm
just
going to
saying,
tell you,
when
on New Year's Eve, I tried to go to Pub 340, and
Not
they
trying to be.
they were like, they were doing an open mic, and I said, "Does this happen all the time?" And they said, "No, we haven't had a show here in 6 months."
Yeah, I would say.
because the neighbors complain about the noise. And I said, "Oh, so you're just doing an open mic? Is this going to happen again?" "No, we're probably months away from doing another open mic." And then a couple months later, I start seeing punk shows being booked there, and
That's crazy
I don't
because-
know what the change was.
Well, yeah, I
because
mean-
their complaint was
Too
the
loud.
people living
Too
in the
loud.
building
Yeah.
were upset about the noise.
That's crazy because, like, traditionally, like, when I first even started hanging out with your brother, Jayme,
Yeah.
MD, like,
Dizzle dizzle.
and
For
all
shizzle
the
and
The
dizzle.
second host of the show.
yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job here.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that hanging out there was like one of the best things you could have done. Like going and seeing the shows there would be to introduce you to cool new bands. They were just like throwing out punk shows like crazy.
Yeah.
They had a video system to show you, like if you
Yeah.
wanted to get
Back in the day
recordings.
you're talking about.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, not even. I mean, yeah, probably 10 years ago. What I'm
Right.
saying is that
That's what I'm
they
saying.
had
I've been
the
here for 7 years, and
infrastructure.
I hadn't seen a show at Pub
Yeah,
340 since
exactly.
I got here
Okay.
until
Yeah.
this year, 2017. Yeah.
Good point. So when I started going there, you could go there, play a show, and get video. they would send you the video of your
Of
show.
what they captured.
Yeah, because they had the cameras.
I know quite a few bands across the continent that do that.
Yeah, the point is that like, I thought they left the scene because they were like kind of wanted to move into a more mainstream, like, hey, let's just get some people in.
I think that's what happened.
It kind of went away. Yeah. But, so anyway, so it's interesting or awesome. Sorry, it is awesome to see that maybe they're trying to make a new run of it.
Oh, they're definitely
it's a
coming
great
back.
venue.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great part of town.
See,
I think it sounds great in there too. It's the right size room for what we want to do.
It's a decent room, yeah.
Like the reason I've been doing shows at the Media Club for the past 3 years, I thought it was ideal room.
Mm-hmm.
There's
the same size room.
First of all,
same size room.
You're right. Because the Media Club is a great room.
Perfect.
Was a great room.
For 150 people.
Absolutely.
Location-wise, you got transit right
Transit.
there. Yeah, absolutely.
It just-
Media Club was great.
So now, like the Media Club's being out, Pop 340 is the next spot. Because
340 bumped up since Media Club dropped off. Maybe it's because of that.
could be, yeah.
They saw I mean, Funkies went down, Media Club went down, Railway
don't-
Club went down.
Yeah, there's
and
no
then 340 started taking on punk bands, and they're
Exactly.
doing
But
punk bands
Cobalt
every
is
weekend.
good, though.
Cobalt, yeah, but
I think Sorry.
well, no, Cobalt is. You're right. Cobalt is great, but in terms of they just do a little bit different approach.
They are
In
different.
terms of they don't really focus on punk rock, and
No.
you can say that
They
the Pop
used to,
340 is
yeah.
100% focused on punk
You're
rock.
right. Yeah, I think you're right.
But at the same time, it's a punk rock. They have punk rock shows.
A
there.
show. It's a venue that
a
we
venue.
can go to in Vancouver that hasn't shut down yet.
Exactly.
Same with Pat's Pub.
Pat's Pub, yeah.
Great stage that still invites us.
That
into
column
shows.
is sucky, though.
Astoria.
Oh yeah. That's
well, that's
I
the,
know,
that's
I
the
know,
buildings
I know,
we live
I
in.
know, I know. We.
There are concrete
I'm talking
supports.
garbage.
There are
I'm talking-
concrete
I'm
supports
talking shit, I'm
that
talking
block every great stage in this city.
No, fair enough. But again, we talk about venues like they come and go, but I think that like you guys are talking about some like awesome opportunities that seem positive for the scene.
Absolutely, and
Absolutely.
yeah, like even Cobalt, like I'm so like the show, which
Yeah.
going back to the show where I'm doing
Yeah.
in December 15th, is that
The Cobalt's a fun night too.
that's but I want to talk about the people who I've been
sorry.
working with,
Sorry.
like just setting up that show. Most of those people have been in bands or are in bands or know how bands work, and I just felt such a great connection, and I felt an honest, pure interest in the success of the show. So there's like
great.
a few people I talked to and said, listen, like we really want to make it as a good show.
These are the
great.
promoters you're
That's
talking
great.
about.
The local people,
The bookers
the bookers.
inside,
Yeah, I talked to the bar manager. I talked to the booker. I talked to the person who runs the bar, and those people said, really, we want you.
That's
we want
great.
They're about business. They want
Well,
the crowd
well,
that you
business
you can draw.
and you know just it felt so
Authenticity.
Authentic. Yeah.
it felt so honest. Listen,
I
we
like
really
that.
want to have
like
this.
that.
So for me, it was really, you know, like obviously like like we're talking about
It's
venues, right?
pragmatic, yeah.
But like that was for me that just like because when the media club closed, I was like, okay, so where should I go? There's a few options, and I had like, okay, what should I do? And I talked to Cobalt because I just know people who work there, and the energy I felt, and we have to discover on December 15th, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a great success. But that it was just like really like we want you to play a good show. We want we, as much as you want. We want to have a good show. I was like, fuck, this is what I need.
I don't make promises on this show. 'Cause
But
that's
you're about to make
Are you
one.
making a promise?
I will
Are you about to make a promise?
I promise you that
Okay.
the Cobalt is a wonderful venue for the new Rocket of Russia show. I have been there under
This
many,
is Christmas Rager, my friend.
yeah,
Christmas
the
Rager.
Christmas fucking Rager.
Presented by Russian Tim.
I mean this. Like I have been there under the auspices of various festivals of whatever the fuck, and I know it's gonna be a fucking fun night. I promise you, because it's just like it's a little lower key, but
What do you got?
It's
Main
hardcore.
Street, is it Main Street SkyTrain Station? Right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's right there. What I mean
Buses?
is that
If you're in Vancouver, Friday night on the 15th of December, you should catch that SkyTrain down to
If you can
Main
even get
Street
in.
Station. Sure, you can get in.
Yeah,
Even if you
I
can't
hope.
get in, you can stand at the door and listen to what's going on.
yeah, it's a good point. Good
They got
point.
pizza next door. They got the American next door across the street.
Yeah, it's a great area.
You can get some beers, pizza,
But-
music.
But really, like this is how I see, like, you know, honestly, like when I was setting up the show, my goal is just really to have
Yeah.
for all my friends just to come up into the same venue, enjoy the bands, which I think great bands, and I get great bands, and everyone just, like, you know, that's what I was talking about, equal. We all go for the success. Musicians, people who come out to the shows, and when I come to the shows, I look around as all my friends. It's all the people who I just talk to on a regular basis.
I feel you, man.
And this is the great thing about the shows, which, like, the scene which we created together, is everyone happy, everyone friends, everyone supports each other. People come out, support bands. Like, you see, you come out to a show, people wearing local band shirts, like this, and
Anthems.
yeah, Anthems. That's a good Russian
I
accent.
think it's Anthems.
And
No.
We got to throw out one more shout out to Anteater.
Anteater. Yeah.
No,
You guys are saying
the
Anthems.
band which didn't
Anthems,
take you as a bass player.
smashed ant holes
Oh,
out
you mean,
on
oh, you mean ant heater?
ant heater. I heat my vehicle by burning ants.
I
in
don't
a-
like ants, but I like them. But I like ant heaters.
But see, this going back to what you said, the local scene.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say
Anthems,
earlier. Like, I was trying to say
also
something, and I
Anteater.
feel like I lost my point, and I apologize.
Yeah, go find your point.
No, I'm just
You
saying.
did a hell of a job.
I know. I'm just saying.
Listen, the
It
vodka's
was
kicking
pure-
in, huh?
The
No.
vodka's sinking in, yeah.
Ultimate point.
no.
Ultimate point
that
was
camera on you.
pure fucking positivity, and it's just so awesome. And when you get your ticket to the show, and when you like just show up and hang out, you're gonna be like, yeah, this is really fun. It's a fun place to be.
I think he's right.
And that's the goal.
Yeah,
You know, people
I know.
come out to
That's
see
what I'm
live
saying.
music.
It's just fun. Even if it's
Fun.
like, oh, music is like kind of culturally divisive sometimes. Some
Hey.
people are like, oh, you know, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like whatever. But in this scene that
Exactly.
you've been a part of and been building and been like ultimately cultivating, it is fun, even for myself. Who
I would
hasn't
call it
been in the scene.
undeniable.
Absolutely. When
You know?
I'm there, when I'm in amongst the groups of people, no one knows me. Like, they're just like, hey, cool, whatever. And it's just so positive. Everyone's
positivity.
so great.
When's the last time there was a fight
it
at a
just-
Rocket from Russia
Never.
show? There
No.
are no fights
I'm just
at the
saying,
Rocket from Russia show.
overall,
There's 150 people there from 5 different walks of life, all from supporting different bands from their own city centers and
Absolutely.
cultural
Yep.
backgrounds and
Yep.
all that, and not one is saying, my band's better than your band.
No.
No, it's all, oh my God, those guys are amazing. Oh my God, those guys are amazing. Everyone's having a great time.
Yeah,
It's a
and that's
beautiful
the
thing.
goal. That's how I wanted to be it originally, and that's how I was like putting on the bands. The people who came out to the shows, like I've been saying that, like, but really to me that's so important.
Absolutely.
And things you're saying, that means to me that everything what I wanted to achieve, I don't think there was any goals or achievements, but like the way I saw those shows happening, that everyone friends, people get together, have a good time, listen to great music, great punk rock music, and you know, you come out on a Friday, Saturday night, you happy, you wake up next day and you're like, oh, had a great time. Like
Yeah.
that's the goal.
That
Yeah.
is the goal.
That's the goal. Like
That is
it's,
the goal.
it's as simple as it is.
yeah, I like that.
An entertaining evening with friends and like-minded individuals.
Exactly.
Hey?
Listening to music, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so
Well, I think we covered everything
So,
exhaustively.
so
What, should
gotta
we do this?
The Foothouse ad.
Hold on. Cut this section here.
That's not gonna happen. We're gonna have to own this
No,
together.
it's right here.
are
We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Float House. They are the
Sorry, that was very
I
loud.
said bystander.
Yeah, you keep going. You keep going on that. Okay, you
What,
start
you
again.
isolate?
You start
Are
again.
you able to isolate? I got propecia of the cheeks. My
Yeah,
cheeks
go.
are propecia.
Go. Jesus.
We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Float House. They are the best isolation tank facility you can visit in Western Canada. If you go right now to floathouse.ca, you can use our podcast promo code to get you 20% off your next float. That promo code is I podcast.
How many eyes?
Sorry. You wanna
2
do it?
eyes. I podcast.
Go ahead and check it out. I float. We float. You should float. Check out floathouse.ca right now. Use our podcast promo code II podcast.
Gtone, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever floated?
I was on LSD once. and
Yeah.
It felt like my...
Once. Once.
This one time I was on LSD. This one time I was on LSD. It felt like my right leg was my left arm and my left leg was my right arm. It was
Okay.
that
You're
weird.
floating. And?
I was floating.
And?
I was floating, baby.
Yeah, you're floating. Okay. I've never floated, so I just want to say, just to say this out loud, floating is like a spa for your mind. The float house, that's where you go.
I believe you.
Yeah. So I've never actually done it.
Neither have I.
And I feel like I should do it. And Gtone, not new to this earth, but maybe he should, and maybe we should, not
Right
together, not together.
Not together. Please, not together.
Three of us were going to jump in a tank?
Yeah,
Naked?
well, quick.
In the
little
dark?
I already had a wet hug from Gtone in 2007. That was good enough.
Wet hug, yes.
No, I'm just saying. I wonder if we should do like Gtone and I separate floats, but maybe do like a
Team floats.
team float.
See if we can, what's that movie? Did you see that movie?
I don't know. Is it called Mad Max?
No, it's called, it's the movie where they go into tanks.
Is it Altered States?
Altered States,
Yeah.
yes.
I have seen that movie. It's a pretty cool movie.
You know, they go
actually.
into the tank and they
Yep.
go into
Well, it's all about deprivation tanks for
deprivation tanks, but
Yeah.
they were able to like contact other things outside of the tank,
sure.
right?
Well, yeah, they explore
So
some
what?
ideas.
If you go in a tank on one side of the building and I go in a tank on the other side of the building, we both take LSD.
So
And if you're thinking triangle and I all of a sudden think triangle, does that mean that we're synced up?
well, I think that if we were both to go into float tanks, we'd probably do it without LSD.
Oh,
So that we
come
could-
on.
For once.
Yeah, for one. And maybe we could,
I think the first time
explore
should be
some
on
ideas.
some good psychedelics.
I don't-
Mushrooms at least.
I actually think you're right. I don't know about the first time, but maybe the second time. Either way, maybe podcast promo code II podcast.
Hey, podcast promo code iicastpodcast.com.
II podcast.
Not even .com. II podcast.
Yeah,
Promo code II podcast.
nailed it. All right. So,
All right.
honestly, let's just say this.
Are we
Let's just
done?
say this first. Can I I want to just say
The
something here.
vodka's done.
We have had the first, as far as I know, Sans MD show.
Yeah.
We had MD's
MD
illustrious
stands
brother,
for mega dick.
Gtone, who I think will be joining us on some
Next
subsequent episodes, a bunch of
I don't know. I'll take over. Doesn't
soon
matter if he's here.
episodes. He's announced
Sounds
he'll
like it
take
would
over.
be crowded if he was here.
What's also awesome is we are also talking to Rocket from Russia, one of the most prolific guests
Prolific
of
guests.
the whole show, I would say.
Ever.
Easily.
He was on one of the first.
And,
He's on the most recent.
yep. And I would say he's represents in his...
Curator of the punk community.
Exactly.
Hey?
Thank you.
Can we
A
call
bunch
you
of
that?
our
Yeah,
episodes.
sure.
Curator
Yep.
of the Vancouver punk community.
Also, guys, I wanted to thank you because you have been.
Vodka.
Have been. We are no longer.
How you
No,
say
no,
vodka?
I'm joking.
You have been such a great support. Like
Yes.
you've been inviting myself to the podcast. Well, not inviting. I actually asked to be here today.
No. You were, first of all, the notion that you
More than one.
thought
I
you
think you have
invited
an
MD, I know already
he's
was
got an
like,
open invitation.
when can we get him? First of all, I say this. I'm like, when can we just get you back in general? I just want you back without trying to plug a show. But your shows are so plug-worthy
Well, you know,
that it doesn't matter.
Well, honestly, like I need to talk about those shows because, like, then I want people to come out.
We
And,
tapped-
like,
we
we
tapped
talked
into
about
some
5
personal
bands, so
stuff.
people know. Yeah.
We tapped into some personal stuff tonight.
Absolutely, we did.
Which is why we would bring you out for just a
Sure.
Absolutely, we did.
a podcast to talk about you. It was very nice to hear a little bit about your background because I didn't know much about you.
Thank you so much.
So,
But yeah, wait. I wanted to thank you both, Jayme, just for support because you've been having, you big idiot, the core.
What'd you call me?
Real.
he is a big idiot.
No.
Because you're a big idiot. Thank you.
But all the bands. It's the band name.
I love it.
Allegedly.
Oh, we
Although,
didn't say you big idiot. Well, they weren't on the list. I mean,
anyway, no, but You Big Idiot is one of the best.
the list is
of
very
your,
long. The list
of
is very long.
Yeah,
of,
You Big Idiot is
Vancouver
wonderful.
bands.
But yeah, honestly, I just wanted to thank you. It's been very great, your support, and thanks for having me. It's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Tim. Tone, thoughts?
Thank you, C-Mart, for pushing buttons and making sure that we get through this okay.
That's how we do.
Feels like you guided us pretty safely.
He
TBD.
does get as well, huh?
Yeah, I tried.